We all love and enjoy games with good story, but once in a while, we need games to make us feel like total badass destroyer. So hey gamers, here we are, 10 games that make you feel like John Wick after losing his dog. Number 10, we got Titanfall 2. Very underrated game. Titanfall 2 is filled with a lot of badass moments. The campaign missions were amazing. Some missions blew me away. It's a pretty fast-paced game. The way you can move feels very smooth. The campaign is a roller coaster of amazing set pieces and level design that constantly switches things up. 1 minute you're running along walls, parkouring across a factory that's literally building houses around you, and the next you're inside BT, punching other titans in the face or launching rockets into enemy mechs. The movement system in Titanfall 2 is hands down one of the best in any shooter. Wall running, sliding, double jumping, it all feels so fluid and natural that by the time you're halfway through the game, you'll be pulling off insane parkour moves like you've been doing it your whole life. To wrap it up, Titanfall 2 is a must-play for anyone who loves fast, fluid shooters with an epic single-player campaign and addictive multiplayer. Whether you're parkouring your way across rooftops or dropping into your Titan to lay waste to the battlefield, Titanfall 2 never stops being fun. And honestly, once you experience BT's deadpan humor and the jaw-dropping set pieces, you'll wonder why you didn't play it sooner. Doom series. Doom is the game that'll make you feel like a total badass. I'm telling you, man, from the moment you start, it's like the game looks you dead in the eye and says, "You ready to rip and tear?" You know how some shooters try to ease you in, give you a little time to figure things out? Doom Eternal doesn't bother with that. It throws you straight into the chaos, and I love it. You're the Doom Slayer, the angriest dude in the universe, and all you do is obliterate demons in the most brutal, satisfying ways possible. The first few minutes, you're already snapping necks, firing shotguns, and chainsawing demons in half like it's just another day at the office. And that feeling, oh man, it's so damn satisfying. The game is all about speed, aggression, and momentum. There's no hiding behind cover or waiting for your health to regenerate. No, in Doom Eternal, if you want to survive, you've got to get up close and personal. You've got this whole arsenal of insane weapons, shotguns, rocket launchers, plasma rifles, and each one has its own unique oh damn factor. But it's not just about shooting, it's about moving. You're constantly jumping, double jumping, dashing in midair, swinging from monkey bars. It's like a demon-slaying parkour course, and you're flying through it like a maniac. Honestly, dude, if you want a game that's going to make you feel like the most badass version of yourself, Doom Eternal is it. You'll finish a session sweaty, hyped up, and feeling like you could take on an army yourself. It's pure, adrenaline-pumping action from start to finish, and you'll have a blast the entire time. Max Payne 3. Max Payne 3 is brutal, cinematic, and yeah, an absolute badass. It's that classic Max Payne bullet time, but cranked to 11. You're diving through windows, slow motion, flipping off balconies, and spraying bullets into a room full of thugs like a one-man wrecking crew. The gunfights are intense. You're never just walking into a fight. You're crashing through doors, sliding across the floor, and using every bit of cover to survive. It's like being in a non-stop action movie, but one where you're always on the edge of total destruction. And the shootouts, bro, oh my god. The way they got it set up, you feel every shot. You pull the trigger, and the guns have this weight to them. You can almost feel the recoil. Headshots, so damn satisfying. When you pop a guy in slow motion and watch him drop, you just feel like a total badass. It's like John Woo meets gritty New York crime drama, and you're the star. The environments are wild, too. You go from the grimy slums of Sao Paulo to the high-end nightclubs and private yachts, but it never feels out of place. Also, man, the game doesn't pull punches when it comes to showing just how brutal Max's life is. He's messed up. He's addicted to painkillers, he's drowning in guilt, and he's got a body count that would make John Wick nervous. But that's part of the charm. It's not about being a hero. It's about survival. Max knows he's screwed, but he's going to take as many people down with him as he can, and you're right there with him the whole time. Next up is Warhammer Space Marine 2. A new release came out this year, and you cannot miss this one. Alright, man, if you're even remotely into the Warhammer 40k universe, Space Marine 2 is about to blow your mind. Picture this, you're a hulking 7-foot tall, genetically enhanced warrior clad in power armor, armed to the teeth, with weapons that can rip through hordes of enemies like they're paper. You're not just any soldier, you're a freaking space marine, and that means two things. You're basically humanity's tank on legs, and you're here to annihilate anything that stands in your way. Tell me that's not badass. Combat in Space Marine 2 is all about brutality and speed. You're constantly moving forward, always pushing the offensive. There's no hiding behind cover or taking potshots from a distance. The scale of the battles is insane. You're not just fighting a handful of enemies. You're facing off against entire swarms of Tyranids. I'm talking hundreds of them, pouring out of the shadows, swarming towards you like a wave of teeth and claws. Arkham Knight makes you feel like you are the freaking Dark Knight. If you've ever wanted to throw on the cape and cowl, glide over Gotham, and take on an entire city of thugs, psychos, and supervillains, this is the game that delivers it all. I'm talking the whole Bat experience, gadgets, combat, detective work, and oh yeah, the freaking Batmobile. First off, Gotham City, it's a work of art. It's dark, it's raining all the time, and it's sprawling. Just this massive, grim playground where you get to swoop down from the rooftops and beat the living daylights out of criminals. You feel like the real Batman, gliding over skyscrapers, and then diving down to smash some thug into the pavement. The best part, the way you can seamlessly move between fighting, grappling, and gliding. It's like 1 minute you're cracking skulls, the next you're flying through the air, and it's all so smooth. The combat, though, that's where this game really shines. It's that classic Arkham-style free-flow combat system where you're taking on 10 to 20 thugs at once, and it feels amazing. You're punching, countering, throwing batarangs, and using all sorts of gadgets in the middle of the fight. It's so fluid that you feel like you're choreographing your own action scenes on the fly. Every punch and kick lands with a crunch, and you've got this sense of momentum flowing from one enemy to the next, knocking them out in the most brutal, efficient ways possible. You've got everything in your utility belt: batarangs, the grapnel gun, explosive gel, the line launcher, smoke bombs, and more. You can use them in and out of combat, and there's nothing quite as satisfying as setting up an ambush, using your gadgets to distract, disarm, and then swoop in to clean up the mess. The best thing is the feeling of being Batman, and what could be more badass? Whether you're silently picking off enemies one by one in Predator mode, solving a crime scene with detective vision, or facing down a whole gang of thugs in an alley, the game nails it. You feel like the smartest, strongest, and most dangerous guy in the room. It's not just about beating people up, though you'll do plenty of that. It's about being a tactical genius, outthinking and outmaneuvering everyone. Metal Gear Rising. Revengeance is pure, over-the-top insanity in the best possible way, man. If you want to feel like an unstoppable, sword-wielding cyborg ninja, cutting through everything in your path like it's butter, then you have to play this game. I mean, it takes the tactical espionage action you expect from Metal Gear and throws it out the window, replacing it with pure, fast-paced hack-and-slash chaos. The combat system is slick. It's all about speed, timing, and precision. There's no blocking, just parrying, so you've got to be on your toes constantly. But when you nail those parries, oh man, it feels so good. You are in the middle of a fight. A giant mech is swinging at you. You perfectly time the parry, and then you just slice it in half. It's so fast and fluid that you barely have time to breathe before you're moving on to the next enemy. And the boss fights? Insane. These bosses are massive, flashy, and totally over the top, with crazy personalities to match. And let's not forget about Raiden himself. In previous Metal Gear games, Raiden was a little divisive, right? But in Revengeance, he fully embraces his cyborg ninja persona, and it's awesome. He's torn between his human side and his need to unleash his inner warrior. Play it, man. You'll be slicing and dicing your way through enemies with a giant grin on your face. Alright man, let's talk Wolfenstein, the new Colossus. This game is straight up wild from start to finish, and if you're into first-person shooters with a side of over-the-top action, alternate history, and pure Nazi-smashing chaos, you've got to play it at your back as BJ Blazkowicz, aka Terrorbilly, and let me tell you, this dude has seen some things. He's the kind of guy who wakes up from a coma, basically half dead, and his first thought is, time to grab a gun and get to work, and that's exactly what you do. The game kicks off with you in a wheelchair, blasting Nazis left and right while rolling through a submarine. It's absurd, and it only gets crazier from there. You're fighting to free America from Nazi control in this dystopian 1960s, and the resistance is depending on you to ignite the spark of revolution. But you're not just some average hero. You're BJ, the walking embodiment of revenge and sheer grit. The combat in the new Colossus is just so satisfying. You can dual wield everything, and I mean everything. Shotguns? Yup. Assault rifles? Of course. 2 laser cannons at once? You bet. There's nothing like mowing down Nazis with a gun in each hand. One for close quarters, and the other for long range. The gunplay is brutal, fast-paced, and just makes you feel like a one-man army, which, let's be honest, BJ pretty much is. The enemies are relentless, but that's what makes each encounter so intense. And don't even get me started on the mechs and super soldiers they throw at you. The game ramps up the difficulty and craziness so much that by the end, you're basically fighting an entire army by yourself, and loving every second of it. It's intense, it's wild, and it's unapologetically badass. You'll laugh, you'll be on the edge of your seat, and you'll probably scream, "Let's kill some Nazis," at least once. Trust me, this one's a ride you don't want to miss. Devil May Cry 5. Devil May Cry 5, man. This game is just straight up insanity wrapped in stylish, demon-slaying goodness. If you've ever wanted to feel like a rock star while absolutely obliterating everything in your path with style, finesse, and the most ridiculous weapons, then this is the game you need. So let's talk about the gameplay, because that's where this game shines. You've got 3 different characters, each with their own completely unique style. First, you've got Nero. He's back with his Red Queen sword and Blue Rose gun, but now he's rocking these crazy, customizable robotic arms called Devil Breakers. And man, each one of those arms is just nuts. One can punch demons into space, another can shoot a shockwave, and one literally turns into a rocket fist that you can ride on. It's absurd and glorious. Nero's all about that in-your-face, brutal combat where you just keep comboing, smashing, and launching demons into the air like you're some kind of supernatural wrecking ball. And man, the combat system is just so slick. It's all about that style meter, getting from D to SSS rank by stringing together combos without getting hit. You'll be juggling demons in the air, pulling off mid-air dodges, using your Devil Breakers or Dante's insane arsenal to keep the combos flowing. And just when you think you've maxed out on style, the game hits you with something new that makes you feel even more like a badass. It's fast, fluid, and so addictive that you'll find yourself replaying missions just to try and hit that coveted SSS rank in every encounter. If you love fast-paced, stylish action games where you can unleash insane combos, rack up style points, and feel like an absolute legend, Devil May Cry 5 is a must-play. It's flashy, it's chaotic, and it's one of the most satisfying action games you'll ever get your hands on. You'll be hooked from the moment you slice through your first demon, and trust me, it only gets better from there. Number 2, we got Mad Max. This came out in 2015. It was developed by Avalanche Studios, the same folks behind the Just Cause series, and published by Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. Even though it dropped a little under the radar compared to other big titles that year, it's gained a solid fan base for its intense vehicular combat and gritty, open-world wasteland. You play as Max, the lone survivor and all-around badass, with nothing to lose. The world's gone to hell, water's scarce, fuel is life, and everyone's out to get you. Max isn't out here to make friends either. He's just trying to survive. The guy barely speaks, but when he does, it's either a cold, hard truth or just straight up rage. The whole vibe of the game is this bleak, dusty, desperate fight for survival. And you feel every bit of it when you're out there in the wasteland. But here's the thing, Max might be broken, but the guy is a force of nature. You know that classic Mad Max style, no nonsense, take no prisoners kind of guy? Yeah, that's what you're getting here. The open world is massive, and it just oozes that Mad Max vibe. Endless desert dunes, ruined cities, skeletons of old world machinery everywhere. The wasteland feels alive with danger. Everywhere you go, there's something trying to kill you, whether it's raiders in souped up cars or massive sandstorms that could wreck you in an instant. But here's the thing, it's beautiful in its destruction. The sun sets over the desert, the dust kicking up as you race through a canyon. It's a hauntingly gorgeous apocalypse. But it's not just all chaos, though there's a lot of that. There's this underlying sadness to the game. 2. Max is a broken man. He's lost everything, and as badass as he is, he's just trying to survive in a world that's hellbent on destroying him. You feel that loneliness, that desperation to hold on to the last shred of humanity in a world that's lost it. Overall, a good game, very underrated. It's gritty, it's raw, and it makes you feel like the toughest, baddest dude in the wasteland. Hitman series. How can we not pick Agent 47 as badass? Playing as Agent 47 makes you feel like the ultimate assassin. These games are all about patience, precision, and pulling off the perfect kill in the most creative ways imaginable. You're not just running in guns blazing. Well, you can, but the real satisfaction comes from stalking your targets, learning their routines, and executing the hit with surgical accuracy. You're like this silent, unstoppable force, dressed to kill in your iconic black suit and red tie, armed with nothing but a barcode tattoo on the back of your head and a whole arsenal of tools of destruction. And some that aren't meant to be, but you make it work. And I'm talking about everything from sniper rifles to fiber wire, poison, explosive rubber duckies, you name it. 47 can turn anything into a weapon. It's basically like someone handed you the keys to an assassin sandbox and said, go wild. The level design is next level. You've got these beautifully detailed, sprawling locations, fancy mansions, high-tech labs, crowded cities, tropical resorts, even a freaking fashion show in Paris. And within each level, there's an insane amount of detail. Every NPC has a routine. There are secret paths, hidden tools, disguises, and opportunities you can discover by simply exploring. It's all about figuring out how to manipulate the environment, the people, and the systems to get your hit done without anyone knowing it was you. And when you pull off a hit that goes flawlessly, where no one even knows you were there, man, that feeling is priceless. Agent 47 himself is just pure badass. He's like a human predator, calm, cool, and deadly, with this emotionless, calculating demeanor that makes him so intimidating. The guy is a ghost in the crowd. No one sees him coming, and by the time they do, it's already too late. He's the embodiment of stealth and precision. Whether you want to go full stealth or leave behind a trail of chaos, the game lets you choose. And when you pull off that perfect hit, there's nothing more badass. Alright gamers, this was the list of games that makes you feel like James Bond or like a total badass. Got a game you think should have made the list? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoyed the video, hit subscribe for more epic gaming content, and smash that notification bell so you never miss out on the next list of games that'll blow your mind. Until then, keep gaming, keep laughing, stay pixel perfect. Gaming pulse out.